Seth Sipes, and the TED Talk I'll be talking about today is Why Work Doesn't Happen at Work by Jason Fried. I picked this TED Talk because in my past jobs I've worked at, I've noticed people not using all their time or most of the day to do work. They always get distracted by something and don't get as much work done as they should, or how much the manager is asking of them. Now, when Jason asks people, where do you go to get something done, the answer is never the office. Corporations and management would hope the answer would be the office, but it never is. They either say special rooms in the house, like the kitchen, their own personal office in their house, or a place in their house where they feel comfortable and focused, or they say a vehicle, like their commute to work on a car, or they do their best thing on a train, or even on a plane. And one of the answers that he usually gives is time, which I can relate to very well. They say early in the morning or in the office after everyone is gone. My dad does this. He goes in the morning early into work, 2 hours early, and gets stuff done before the day even starts. But never during the day, during the 8 hours of office time you're supposed to be working. Jason says we trade work days for work moments. By this he means there's always an interruption, lunch break, cigarette break, or bathroom break, or talking to other employees, meetings, but you never have a full 8 hours of work to get things done. There's always interruptions, and that's why he says we trade work days for work moments, because we separate into pieces. We only get pieces of things done. We call those work moments. Jason also talks about how sleep and work are the same. Sleep has 4 phases or stages, and this relates closely to work. I'm not saying that you can sleep during work or work during sleep, is what Jason said. But when you're asleep, if you're woken up in the middle of these stages, when you go back to bed, you start all over from the beginning, from the first stage. And work is the same. If you're working in the middle of something and someone interrupts you, or you're called to a meeting, or you need to talk to your boss or another employee, you have to start the cycle all over again. Your brain is in the right state to just pick up from where you left off and keep going through until you finish what you were working on. And that's why Jason says sleep and work are the same as in the phases concept. Managers and distractions. At work, managers think that distractions are social media, email, talking to coworkers or other employees, and managers think there's distractions from working from home, which is why most managers don't allow working from home. Managers say home distractions are the TV, the employees' kids, or sleeping. And a manager wants to see their employee work, and they're scared if they let them work from home, they won't see them work and they won't do the work. But what Jason says is these home distractions are voluntary distractions when you do these distractions when you're ready. But at work, there's distractions such as meetings, being called aside by your boss to go over progress, and those such things. But these are involuntary distractions, which doesn't help the individual get through their workday. At least with the involuntary distractions, they're able to do what they want and then go do their distraction and come back to work when they're ready. Jason has a thing called M&M, managers and meetings. He says meetings and managers are the most toxic things in the workplace. Managers do random check-ins, which distract employees, and meetings throughout the week. There's usually in big office or corporations, there's usually a meeting once a week, and at these meetings you're talking about things that you're supposed to be doing during the time of the meeting. And a 1 hour meeting isn't actually a 1 hour meeting, because you have to consider all the employees working there. So if you have all the employees in the meeting, so if you have a 1 hour meeting, it isn't actually 1 hour, because if there's 10 employees in there, then it's actually a 10-hour meeting, and that's a huge loss to the company and time that could be used to be doing something productive. Another con to meetings is Not all employees are ready to stop work at the time the meeting's called. If an employee is in the middle of a idea or solving a problem and a meeting is called, then they have to completely stop what they're doing and go to the meeting, come back and try to get back to what they were doing, which refers back to how sleep and work are the same with the phases. So if someone interrupts you in your sleep and you have to go back and start over your sleep cycle, same thing for work. Also, employees never call meetings because employees don't find that meetings are that mandatory because they're not getting anything done during the meetings. It's just another distraction. The solutions that Jason gives, he gave three, is a no talking Thursday. To be used on any day, but a whole day without talking. This way, this gives the employees 8 full hours, or to split it up, he said even do afternoon no talking Thursdays, where you just should go all afternoon without talking. Managers don't talk, employees don't talk, and this will cause a lot more productivity going on in the company. He also gives a solution of passive models of communication to substitute face-to-face interruptions. Instead of doing managers come face to face and checking on progress or giving you a new task or checking up on how your current task is going, is to just email the employee. That way they can have a voluntary interruption instead of an involuntary one. They can check their email when they have time or when it's convenient for them, instead of being taken out of the job and working mind state to have a 2-minute meeting that will distract them, and they'll have to start the cycle all over again. And the final solution he gives is to cancel meetings completely. He says that if you have a meeting on Monday, just to cancel it, and life will go on. The problems that you were going to talk about will most likely get fixed without the meeting, because people will be being more productive without the meeting and being called from what they're already working on to go into the meeting for an hour. This will also save the company money and time because the employees are still working and they're not ripping away multiple employees to sit in an office and not be working. The three questions are: if you were a manager, what would you do to increase work time at work? Do you agree on Jason's theory that sleep and work are the same? And do you think Jason's solutions are good solutions and actually possible to do?